Hello, this is Bruce with Olympus Controls, and today I'm going to be showing you an application in Cognex Insight Explorer, how to do two things. Basically, the first part of the application is going to be an auto exposure little program that basically adjusts the exposure of the camera for different light situations. So it's good for applications where lighting may change throughout the day. And then the second part of the application is to demonstrate virtual photo eyes. So basically, a way you can use an Insight camera, so one Insight camera to replace a whole array of photo eyes, just to detect the presence and absence of parts in the field of view. So let's start out first by modifying the image here. So we're going to change this into a continuous mode, because once we go online we want it to just continually take pictures. Later we're going to change this exposure time to the automatic exposure. So what we're going to do here is we're going to drop in a snippet that I've made. Again, it's just something that I've used a few times, and if you need this, feel free to give us a call and we can hook you up with this. So basically it's our target exposure snippet. And what this does is basically I pick an area in the field of view, so I'm going to just double click on this histogram tool, and I'm going to move the region around. So down here what we're going to say is this part here up here is going to move around, and we're going to detect its presence and absence later in the application, but we want to adjust the light or the exposure based on this. So we're going to know that this target area always wants to have a specific grayscale value. So we do want to see the input graphics because we want to see that little rectangle. So this here is the target value. So 0 is black, 255 is white, and this is kind of a deadband, or basically a cushion. So we want to just make sure that that area down here is within 15 pixel or grayscale values of 120. And then basically here, if it's too dark, we want to increase it by, we're going to say here, a quarter of a millisecond, so 0.25. And over here, we want to change it to negative 0.25. So if it's too light, we want it to decrease. I found that if I make that number too large, so if it's 1 or greater, sometimes on the for lower exposure values around 8 milliseconds or so, it starts to dither up and down, and you get this fluctuating number. So if we keep that number relatively small, it keeps that dither from happening. And so then this is going to be the target exposure time. So we go back in here to the image, and we'll grab this exposure time, and we're going to link it over here to the new exposure time. So based on how close the actual value is to 120, whether it's within the 15 value window, this will go up and down. So this is the target area, etc. So let's just test that out real quick, see if it works. So we're going to go online, and as you can see, it darkened down to 9.25 milliseconds, and now the brightness value that we're getting is around 125. So if I change my target value to be 100, we should see the exposure time go down. Yep, and so it goes down to 8 milliseconds. Likewise, if I decide I want it to be, one press goes up to 10.5 milliseconds. The other thing I can do here is change the deadband value from, say, about 15 down to 5. What you'd see is that the brightness value of the histogram tool would increase from around 140s to about the 150s range, a lot closer to the target of 150 that we had set here in D4. The other thing we can do quickly is turn off the light, and when I do that, you should be able to watch the value of the new exposure change up from 11.25 up to, let's see here, 21.5. So that worked out well. Due to the lighting situation here in the dark, what we're going to, as you can see here, the left hand side is bright and the right hand side is dark. I'm going to move this target area over to the other side. So you can kind of see this is pretty easy to do. I'm going to double click on my histogram tool, change my region of interest, move it over here, say OK, and then I'm going to move the target area as well. So if I take a quick snapshot, if I go on live real quick, change it, so there we go. Now it's going to adjust back down to make this area look more like this area. So you just have to strategically pick your target areas in order for this area to work well. So the next thing I'm going to show is the photo. So I'm going to go offline here. Yes. And I'm going to insert my new snippet here that I've made called the photo cells. So I'm going to drag it over here, drop it in place, and as you can see, let's move this. There's a whole series of photo eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 photo eyes, or regions of interest that I've wanted to simulate photo eyes with. And as you can see, basically what I've done is I've made this value, what we're going to do is we're going to change this value to be this minus this. So as long as it's below that deadband area, we'll consider that a present. And then we're going to say minimum count to fail. We want it. I know that the area of these boxes is 700 pixels, so I want to make sure that I have at least this number of light pixels in there. So we're going to say that we want half of the cell to be present. So you can kind of see this new one came present here because it was just over half. And so, yeah, so that we can go online here and we'll take a look at it, and you can kind of see. Let's go to my custom. I'm going to make it custom. Actually, let me go offline and make a custom view so we can see these sensors. So we're going to highlight these cells. We're going to make a custom view. Say OK, and then let's view the custom view and go online. All right. So I can move this piece around. Moves up and now I'm going to turn the light on, and as you can see, it continues to work. So it adjusts, comes back in line with the light on. We'll go move it again. Now I think it's worth showing how simple it is to actually add a new sensor. It's just like we're in Excel. We're going to go and copy, and then we'll paste it, and then I take the region and slide it anywhere that I want. And there it is, just like that. Now it's important to know that all this stuff resides on the camera. So the setup is basically a Cognex Insight camera. You can see it has an integrated camera and processor, and on the end is the power and Ethernet. So I could basically unplug this thing completely from my computer, and it would be sending pass-fail information over either Ethernet or I/O. Let me move this so you can see the new photo eye working. So that is an overview of an application using an auto exposure based on a target area, as well as using an Insight camera as a virtual photo eye. If you have any questions about this application, or if you have another application you're working on, feel free to give us a call here at 1-800-236-0607, and we'd be happy to talk to you about it.